ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ. Today's program is dedicated, or especially, we'll be focusing on the recent unnatural floods that we have seen that have come across the Indian occupied Punjab, which we call East Punjab, and also on the Pakistani side. So last couple of weeks, there have been a lot of flooding across both Indian occupied Punjab and the Pakistani Punjab, and a lot of loss of life and property. And there have been accusations, both at the government level and also at the level of the people from both sides of the Punjab, Indian occupied Punjab as well as from the Pakistani Punjab side, that these floods were engineered by the Indian government. That it is the Indian government which has sinisterly used the various dams that it has constructed on the Indus water river system to cause these floods. So while these are allegations, people will say but I have analyzed these allegations, and I have looked at the data of how these different dams have been used in the past to kind of see whether there is any truth to these allegations. And in today's program, we will keep it 1 to 1.5 hour. I'll show you data which will conclusively prove that these floods were actually engineered by the government of India. This is shocking data. When I looked at this data, in fact, I was also shocked that how can a government do this to its own people and also to its neighbor? How can you do such a dastardly act and use water as a weapon? But honestly, the data kind of speaks to itself. My motive of doing this program is to share that data with you guys, openly, transparently, and basically, have anybody come and look at this data and tell me what conclusions can you form. I had published this data in the past as well, and I had shared it with the government of India, with different high officials of India, while many of them contacted me privately to check whether this data is correct or not, and they all agreed this data is correct. But then on public forum, publicly, they have not replied to any of the questions that I have posed, or what the inevitable conclusions that you get to when you look at this data. I think it is important for the world to look at this data and to intervene, because this is a very, very dangerous situation, where we have two nuclear armed neighbors, India and Pakistan, who might end up in a nuclear war, and also the fact that we have this Sikh minority of almost 20 million people, 20 to 30 million people, who are undergoing this econocide or genocide through use of water by the Indian state. So let me just to give you a context, before we start. To let you guys know, we are live on three different platforms. Currently, we are live on Twitter, Twitter live stream. We are live on, and I'm also live on YouTube, and I'm also live on Instagram. My Instagram handle is the same as my Twitter handle, which is FTW Harjeet. You can watch me there. My Twitter handle is FTW Harjeet, and my YouTube channel name is Finding Truth with Harjeet. Okay, so, and this is an endeavor at finding the truth uh, objectively, looking at the data and not just going by emotions and whatever you feel about this issue. So that's the my endeavor here, so people can understand what is actually going on and ask questions to from the people who are responsible. So before we start, we do have people in who have just joined. Coin, I'm not sure if you can take on the co-host or something. We will not keep it long this time, but if you can take the co-host, I'll really appreciate, because sometimes the what you say, the Twitter space can drop. So we are also live on a Twitter space, and in case you want to ask questions, you can join the Twitter space, or you can also ask me questions on YouTube channel in the comments field. Those questions will filter in here on my streaming software. Okay, so Coin has joined. Awesome. Okay, awesome, guys. So let me share my presentation here. Okay, and if you are on the live stream now, you can see this map. This is the map of the northern part of India, and on the western side, on the left side, is Pakistan. And on the map, you basically see four rivers are being plotted. Okay, on the westernmost is Chenab, on the left hand side, which mostly flows through Pakistan, but it originates in India. And then east of that is Ravi. Not sure if you guys can see my cursor, but this is Ravi. Mostly flows in Pakistan, but it also originates primarily in India, in the Himalayas. Then you have Beas. You see this river, Beas, which again originates in India, but then it supposedly flows into Pakistan. And then on the easternmost, you have Satluj, which again actually originates in China, then comes to India, and then goes to the Pakistan. Now, India and Pakistan, when they got partitioned, they did a river water treaty called Indus Water Treaty. And as per the Indus Water Treaty, these three easternmost rivers, Satluj, which is on the easternmost, where my cursor is right now, Beas, and then Ravi, all these three rivers, almost like 90% something of the water of these rivers, India can use. What that means is India has full freedom to build dams on it and use this water the way they want to. Chenab, and then there's another river, Indus. Those are the water for those rivers cannot be used by India. They are primarily for use by Pakistan. Keep this in mind that all these rivers, Chenab, Ravi, Satluj, Beas, eventually they all join together as they go towards the Arabian Ocean or Arabian Sea, and they become what we call the Indus River. All these rivers are tributaries of the biggest river, which is the Indus River, and what we collectively call this is the Indus River water system. One of the most important river water systems in the entire planet, if not the most important. I would call it the most important river water system. Most of the water from the Himalayas come through this river water system and irrigates the plains of Punjab. Punjab is basically one of the most fertile regions on entire planet, most suitable for agriculture, where you can do agriculture all through the year because the weather is mild, you have abundant water, and basically you can feed the entire planet from this just one region. That's why this region is strategically also very important, and from an ecological standpoint also is very important. And that's why we are actually talking today, why these government of India is hell bent on actually disturbing the ecology of this region, which has far-reaching implications. But anyways, so as you understand, these three eastern rivers now India kind of owns, quote unquote, owns. India, over past moment the British left and the moment the Indus Water Treaty was signed, India constructed a series of dams over these rivers. I have shown you on the slide only six, two on each of these three rivers, Ravi, Beas, and Satluj, which are the biggest dams. So on Ravi, which is this river, which is the where you see my cursor, India has constructed two huge dams, and these are not small dams. Keep it in mind. These dams are one of the highest dams in the world wherever you can find. Okay, so on Ravi, they have a Ranjit Sagar Dam and Shahpur Kandi Barrage. Just before these rivers enter the state of Punjab in India itself. And Punjab is a Sikh dominated state. And we will talk about it, why it is important, and why this state is also kind of at a target of the Indian government. And then the second river, Beas, as you come east, has two huge dams called Pong Dam, which is the number one dam here, and this number behind it is Pendo Dam. Again, I think their height is somewhere around 1500, 1600 feet, which is one of the highest in the world. Okay. And then when you come to Satluj, this is number 5 dam and number 6 dam. These are again one of the biggest dams in the world. One, number 5 is Bhakhara Nangal, and number 6, Bhakhara Nangal is actually two dams, and number 6 is Nathpa Jhakhri Dam. Okay. What India does is, through these dams, stops the river water, has the ability to stop 100% of the river water of these huge rivers. These are not small rivers, okay? These are rivers which, if they are allowed to flow on their natural course, they are miles wide, okay? They used to be miles wide before India constructed these huge dams. Not easy to even cross. And so what India does is it stops all the water on Ravi, has the ability to stop all the water on Ravi, and from there it has dug tunnels in the Himalayas, and it sends all that river water into Beas. In Beas, again, it has huge reservoirs where it has dug tunnels from Beas to Satluj and then sent all the water of Ravi and Beas actually into Satluj reservoir. So India has as a strategy collects the river water of all these three rivers and brings it to one of the largest reservoirs on planet called Gobind Sagar Reservoir, which is in the state of Himachal, just on the border of the Sikh state Punjab and Himachal. Okay. And from there, it can basically, release water wherever it wants to, or, from there, it has huge water, what you say, and I think I have it on the next slide. Here's another view. You see, this is the Satluj River, where my cursor is. You can see the reservoir here. It has a network of canals. And it takes all these canals, it takes 90% of the river water from these three river systems and sends it to states which are non-Sikh states. So Sikhs historically have had a troubling relationship with the government of India and have, accused the government of India of stealing its river waters, as well as, being persecuting them because they have a different religion than the majority religion, Hinduism. So, and their allegations are true because 90% of this river water, which actually belongs to Punjab, the Indian state then has, through these canals, it takes it out and gives it to the Hindu majority states or the non-Sikh states of Rajasthan, Haryana, and Delhi. And the main lines through which this water is taken out is this called Bhakra main line. You see this where my cursor is, which actually takes the river water into Rajasthan. Then another is called Satluj Yamuna link, like where my hair cursor is, which takes it to Delhi. And then this Beas river brings the water down, and from here, from Firozpur, it takes it through Rajasthan feeder again to Rajasthan. Okay, the people of Punjab, the Sikhs, are not allowed to use this water. So, why it is important to know this is because now you can see, using these, because India has the ability to stop all this water there, and then through canals it can send water to neighboring states, or it can choose to block the canals. All these canals which go to neighboring states, they have huge barrages. Those barrages have gates which can open and close. They can close the barrages, and they can, if they close the barrage and release that all the water for 2 or 3 years that they have accumulated suddenly into the plains of Punjab, the plains of Punjab can be easily flooded. So the Indian state can flood all of the Sikh Punjab, as well as you see, these river waters, actually their dry beds now flow into Pakistan or Pakistan anytime they want. The only thing they have to do is to stop all the barrages to accumulate water, stop all the canals which are taking water out of Sikh Punjab into Rajasthan, Haryana, or other states, and just suddenly release water in these river systems. And now you have 2 and 3 years worth of water which can just flow in and cause devastating. All the banks of the rivers will break because they are not used to sudden inflow of water now, because the water is not regularly flowing in those areas. Now, if you suddenly release water, the banks break, the water kind of spreads, and it causes flooding everywhere they want to. And India can do that. They have the ability. And we will see if they have actually done that this time. We will look at the data if that is what they exactly did or they did not do. Okay. So this is just to give you a sense of where the dam is. Okay. Before we go, as you see, uh, on these three rivers, they have dams. The purpose of the dam, it's important for you to understand what is the purpose of the dam. Okay, just one sec. I have a young man here who's, yeah, calling me up. Just one sec. Okay, I had a young man coming here trying to blackmail me for more time for video games. Okay, anyways, while we solve different bigger problems, there are smaller problems to solve. Okay, anyways, so coming back to our discussion. So now, just keep this in mind. The first you have to understand what is the purpose of a dam. Okay, a dam, like on this natural flow of water, a dam, if you see on this picture, there are these red dots. A dam is just an obstruction to the natural flow of water. You basically, whenever the river water is flowing through two large hills and through a smaller constrained area, and in that constrained area, you build like a wall between those two hills to stop all the water, and then all that water is stopped there, and then you basically keep accumulating the water and release the water whenever you want to. So by accumulating the water, what you can do is that if you don't stop, the water will basically go and flow into the ocean. But if you stop the water, you can save the water. And whenever there is dry months, whenever it is very hot and there is no rain, you can release the water from this reservoir so the farmers can use it. And whenever there is excessive rains in monsoons, we have monsoons in India in which you have excessive rain. In that time, leading up to the monsoon, you can release the water, but you have this, you can empty your reservoir. And as the monsoon comes, you can stop all the excess water in these reservoirs so that that excess water from the hills does not flow into the plains and cause flooding. Okay, so dams help you get water in dry months and also help you to avoid flooding during excessive rains. And the third benefit you get is you can generate hydroelectricity from these water resources. Now, so dams have a lot of benefits. So the question is, If India has so many dams, and I only showed you 6 dams, okay? In reality, in India has more than 45 dams or 35 dams across just these 3 rivers. Some small, some big, but the ones I showed you are the largest ones, the 6 dams on the 3 rivers. So the question is, with these many dams in such a constrained area, it is impossible for Punjab to ever experience floods because dams help you manage river water and help you basically manage adverse weather, whether it is a excessive dry months or excessive wet months. So, but what we are seeing is the opposite. Punjab historically did not have any bad flooding, mass instances of huge flooding in the past. Generally, Punjab will have mild floods, one here or there, but that's just one river overflowing, one canal overflowing. But what we have seen is after these dams were constructed by India, there are huge events of flooding which have happened. One of the major ones we talk about is 1988, then 1991, then 2019, then 2023, and now 2025. And all these other dam floods, 1988, 98, and 1988 when the floods happened, the Sikhs at that time also alleged that these floods were deliberately engineered by using these dams as weapons by the Indian state. And at that time, there was a militancy movement in Punjab, and some of the militant Sikh youth actually assassinated the chairman of the one of the big dams called Bhakra Beas Management Board. This is a Indian government entity which controls the flow of river or release of water from these dams. And but at that point in time, no data was shown, whether it was actually done by the Indian state. It was just an allegation believed by people. But today I'm going to show you the data which will tell you that yes, the allegations are true, and it is shocking data, but it is what it is. Just to tell you what data I have, I chanced upon a Bhakra Beas Management Board website, a web portal, wherein every day they update the amount of inflow of the water into the Gobind Sagar Reservoir, which is the Bhakra Dam, the outflow, and the water level of the dam. What is the water level of the reservoir, whether it is 1600 feet or 1700 feet, okay? And they do this for Bhakra Nangal Dam as well as Pang and Pong and Pando Dam, which are the other two big dams. And in 2023, when the floods happened, I downloaded data. The only data they had was for last 10 years. They don't have more than 10 years data there. I downloaded the day-wise data of the last 10 years. Then I analyzed that data for patterns, okay? And when I saw the patterns, it's my basically mind got numbed by what I saw, that it was so clear in the pattern that in 2023 the floods were deliberately engineered, and this is how they were engineered, okay? Before I show you the table, I'll tell you the modus operandi, then I'll show you the data how they were engineered. So the modus operandi was this: in Punjab, the period from February till June is what we call dry months. That's when you generally don't get any rain, and by the time June comes, it's very dry. It's almost like it's like like California in their summer months. So and then in July, generally in July, mid July, sometimes late July, the monsoons hit. We call them southwest monsoons, and these monsoons bring immense amount of rainfall in the northern part of India, especially in the hills of Himachal and the plains of Punjab, Haryana, and even Uttar Pradesh. And so when monsoons hit, so what the pattern of the dams water release and hold was that in dry months, which is February to June, the dams will constantly release more than higher amounts of water on a daily basis, okay, which is what they should do, because the farmers in the plains need water in dry months and there is no risk of flooding. And what this also does is it brings the water level of the reservoirs low by the time you reach monsoons in July. And the moment the July monsoons hit, these dams tended to, start releasing less water in July. and they tend to hold on water because already there are a lot of rains, already the plains are getting flooded, so you don't want to add fuel to the fire by releasing excessive water. So at that point in time, for those 2 months, you see a pattern where they try to hold more water. Like sometimes they will not release even days, not even a single drop of water. But in 2023, they reversed the pattern, totally reversed the pattern. So what they did was, in the month of dry months from February till June, on an average, on a daily basis, they released double the amount of water that they released on average in the past 4 years. And then in the wet months, they released sorry, in the dry months, sorry, I correct myself. In the dry months, they released less than half the amount of water that they should have released based upon the average patterns of last 4 years. They didn't release any water in dry months. So what that caused was for the reservoir to fill up going into monsoons. And as the monsoons hit in June and July, they suddenly upped the release of water by almost 100 to 200%. On some days, almost 400%, which was totally mind boggling, which is totally a reversal of the pattern. This is what they're not supposed to do. And here I will show you a table which tells you that entire story. Okay. This one table, if you understand, then you will understand the modus operandi of the Indian state. And I want you to concentrate first on just the top table. Okay, don't look at the bottom table. The top table tells you the story of the dry months, and the bottom table tells you the story of the wet months or the monsoons. The dry months here I analyzed was from March to June for last 5 years. Okay, so the very first row, if you see, from 2018 to 2022, which are the years when we didn't have any flood, okay, the average total outflow of water from these dams in these dry months, we are looking at the dry months, was 22 million cubic feet per sec, cubic feet per sec water. Okay, so it's 22 million cubic feet per sec water they released in this time period every year, average. But in year 2023, what they did was they reversed the pattern. In the dry months, they didn't release enough water. What they did was they released only 10 million, 10.1 million, you can call it almost 11 million cubic feet per sec water, which is almost halving, more than half, less than half water they release, which they should have ideally released in this time period. Okay, and imagine this is a normal monsoon and they are still releasing half the amount of water. No explanation. That this is the total, and if you just divide it by day wise, it comes to, they used to release 18,800 cubic feet per sec daily, but in 2023 they released only 9,000 cubic feet per sec. Okay, so before I move, I just want to ask questions. People who are on the Twitter space, have you understood this data, that what is happening in the dry months in year 2023 versus what is the expectation? Okay. In case anybody wants to ask me a question, they can ask me a question. Before I move to the wet months. Okay, no questions? Fine. I just want to make sure people are following me, okay? Because sometimes when you show data, not everybody is good at following data, and the situation can become complex, right? So, and
we do have some questions actually. Squamish?
Yeah. Yes, Squamish, go ahead.
I don't understand. Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Squamish. Sorry, can you hear me? Yes, we can. Okay, I'm just curious what per sec means.
Yeah.
So you refer to million, but I don't understand the per sec. Is it per second? But you're referring to day.
Yeah, I think this is the cubic feet per sec outflow. In every second, how much cubic feet of water has been flowing. So the way, like when they release water, okay, it is measured in terms of flow. How much is the flow? Okay, it's not just that. So that's why it's in cubic feet per sec. But you could just Google it to understand it a bit more. But it kind of measures the flow. Okay, the higher it is, the more basically it tells you per second how many cubic feet of water they are releasing. Okay, and this data that you are seeing is primarily for Bhakra Dam, but the same story is there on the Pondo Dam. Okay, um, so this is the data, okay, on the dry months, and we are looking at the top table right now, where my cursor is, and you see, I'll state it again. In the average years, 4 years prior to 2023, in the dry months from March to June, they released 22.8, almost 23 million cubic feet per sec water. On a daily basis, that amounts to 18,800 cubic feet per sec. But in 2023, very odd pattern. In the dry months, they did not release water. Basically, cut the outflow by more than 100%. They released only 10.97 million in total for these months. And the impact of that's going to happen is, as you can kind of use your common sense, what's going to happen if you're not releasing water in dry months, your water level, the dam water level in your reservoir will be high going into monsoons. So in the monsoons, when the rain comes, your reservoir will already be filled up to the brim, and then you will have to release water and say, hey, I can't do anything because my water levels is hitting the danger levels. Okay, so that's why this is a very odd pattern that on the dry months. Jaquine, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, just a quick question, because you were mentioning earlier the purpose of dams is to release water during dry months and obviously to stop flooding when you do have extra rain. Now, when you have that amount of water also not being given in dry months,
Yeah, Coin, we lost you. Not sure if anybody else can hear her. Skomish, can you hear her? Is the issue on my end? Okay, if the issue is on my end, I can switch off my Wi-Fi and see.
Ajit, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Skomish. Can you hear me now?
I think he's having some sort of trouble.
Okay, can you hear me now?
yeah, did you understand my question?
No, I'm sorry. I was having
Yeah,
I was having
because obviously
issues.
would that have been noticed?
Yeah.
And what would the purpose of that have been? Not to give water in the dry months as well, and the actual environmental and impact on the farmers.
Got it. Is my voice clear now?
2 cents would be that one. Punjab is already not getting water. Sorry to interrupt you guys, but your voice is not going through. So maybe Ajit is not able to hear you guys.
Oh, both of us. Okay, and maybe I'll go down and come back up.
No, you guys are fine. It's just me, I think. Sanatan, can you hear me? Huh. Sanatan, are you able to hear me, man? Okay, can you guys hear me? No?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, Sanatan, you can hear me now? Okay, perfect. Coin, are you able to hear me? Coin, are you able to hear me? No? Ravanpari, can you?
Your voice is basically not going through. It's coming through on video, but it's not coming through on Twitter.
Yeah, that's what I feel. So, Sanatan, if I drop from the Twitter space and rejoin, will the space end? Okay, let me try to do that. Wow, there's something happening in the Twitter space. Okay. What about now, Snathan? Can you hear me?
No, space will not end. You can rejoin. You have basically a couple of minutes to rejoin back the space.
Okay, I'll do that. So sorry for people um, on the live stream. I'm also opening a Twitter space, and we were having some issues joining that space, and I'm just fixing those issues just to make sure. Reconnect to space. Okay, Can you guys hear me now?
Oh, yes, I can.
Sorry about that, Coin. It was on my end. I think there's something going on. There's something like that. I think the Indian state is getting desperate. Hopefully, it's not. It's not Indian state. It's just the Twitter bugs. But yeah. And I apologize to the audience for the logistical issue. But yeah, Coin, you had a question. I think your question was.
I suppose it's a minor point. So you were talking about obviously how dams are used to prevent flooding, but also to give water during dry season. So
Yeah.
if there's a halving of that water in the dry season for a particular year or whenever it is, would that not have been noticed by the farmers, and what kind of impact would that have had on the crop yields and etc.? Just that's a minor point, but yeah, I look forward to the next point you're about to make.
Yeah, no, that's an important point. But keep it in mind, Coin. It would have been it would not have it would have gone unnoticed. You know why? Because 90% or almost 70% of the water goes to Rajasthan. This water does not go to the Punjab or Sikh farmers. They are forced or dictated by the central government to use underground water. Okay, so whatever is the shortage of water they are sending in dry months, the impact is on Rajasthan. And Rajasthan per se doesn't even use that water. It has excess supply of river water. If you go Rajasthan, nobody complains about water shortage anywhere. Okay, half of this water that goes to Rajasthan, that's another tragedy. It kind of evaporates in thin air. Nobody knows where they dump it in some desert somewhere. God knows how this is used. Anyways, so this is what is happening. This is what has happened in 2023 in the dry months. You see, they cut down the outflow of the water, making sure that the dam reservoirs are artificially high on their water levels. Now, the monsoons, this is the data you see here on the bottom table. Let's move to the bottom table. The data that you see is from 1st of July till 17th of August. And the first row shows you the total outflow average of last 4 years, 2018 to 2022. If you see in the same dates, if you looked at the last 4 years average, they average around 11.16 million cubic feet per sec total outflow. But in 2023, when there was flooding, okay, now in years 18 to 2022, there's no flooding, but year 2023, there is flooding. Now there's flooding in the plains. So if there's flooding in the plains, you have to release even less water. Ideally, you should see them not pumping out more than 40,000 or 50,000 400,000 or 0.5 million, let us say. They should at least half the outflow. But what do they do in monsoon? In monsoon, they have reversed the pattern. Rather than now, because there is flooding in the plains, rather than reducing the outflow, they are actually pumping up the outflow to 17 million. Same time period. It's a very short time period in which they're pumping out all this water. And now you can say, hey, they might have pumped this water now because they have artificially filled up the dam level. The water must be reaching some danger level on the top, so they have to send. And this is the exact excuse that the Bhakra Beas government gave when the people started complaining. Why are they pumping water out in monsoons or increased water outflow? They said our water levels have reached danger levels. But that was a fat white lie. In the entire monsoons in year 2023, the water levels of Bhakra Dam were nowhere close to the danger level. Nowhere. This year was so exceptionally dry that even with them holding on to excessive water in the dry months, they just couldn't reach the high level. And I'll show you. Okay. I'll show you another graph for that. where I have the water level graph of the dam. And this is my article which was published in Bars, by the way, okay? And let me show you. You look at this water levels. 2023, and this is Bhakra, okay? 1700 is the highest you can go because that's the height of the dam. 2022, 2020, they reached up to 1670, 80 something. 2022, they reached up to 1685 something. 2023, when they started the excessive release of the water, the dam water was below even 1650. It was somewhere around like 1620 feet. And keep it in mind, the water that you can store at the higher levels of the dam, okay, between 1600 feet to 1700 feet, the amount of water that you can store there is equivalent to almost 400 or 500 feet of lower depths, because it is kind of shaped like a cone, the reservoir, okay, generally. And so they had, coming back to the presentation, they had no reason to pump up this water outflow in the monsoon months. It's criminal to pump it up unless your intention is to flood the plains. And not only this, okay, they didn't just do stop here. Once they pumped out this excess water in monsoons, what they did was, remember this map that I showed to you? Remember this canals which can take water, which take 90% of this water to Rajasthan and Haryana. And I told you there are big barrages here which divert the water to these states. They closed these barrages. So none of this water, which 90% of the water usually is flowing out of Punjab, but when they are releasing excess water, none of this water should escape from Punjab. All of the water should get accumulated in Punjab. And we saw that because the locals shared videos of it. And I'll show you. This is the picture taken. You see this picture? This is the Harike Pattan barrage from where the water can be diverted to Rajasthan. And you see, these are the gates inside. If you see, these are this is the gates which, when they open up, they go up. The water goes to Rajasthan. You see, they are closed. The water to Rajasthan is practically dry, no water. While the other side, the Punjab side, is flooded. Okay, the water which is going to go in desert, they don't want it to go to the desert. They have to explain why. Zero explanation. Okay, so I know I see a hand raised. JSK, go ahead.
Ajit, I have a question. Like, does Indus Water Treaty, I know it's a bilateral treaty between India and Pakistan, but does it cover the point of deliberate manipulation of release timings, which you are currently showing? Like they are holding the water in summers and then releasing it in when they in the odd timing. So do we have anything related to this which has been covered in Indus Water Treaty?
Yeah. So Indus Water Treaty, while it is a bilateral treaty, it was brokered by the United Nations. Okay. So it's not India basically keeps saying we can do whatever we want to do with this treaty. Okay. No, they cannot. There are terms there. And today, this is how sinister the Indian mind is. Okay. When the Indus Water Treaty was being formulated, it is a very oddly written treaty. At that, because I had read initially all the documents related to it, okay, what happened was there were some of the world's renowned experts in environment, water sharing, who got involved in, getting this treaty done between India and Pakistan. Generally, what you do is there are 5 rivers, as you know, which are tributaries for Indus. And generally, what you do is you do a treaty where you share management of the water. Okay. And you say, okay, this is the total outflow. We will get this much water. You can use this much water. And this is how we will use this water. This is how you can use this water. What India did was, India did a very strange proposal. And the people who were, the experts also there were not very happy, but they couldn't figure out why India is saying it. India said, let's not worry about water management. Okay. Let's just divide the rivers. that Pakistan should have full rights to use these two rivers, westernmost, and do whatever it wants to do with these two rivers, and we should have the full rights to use these three rivers and whatever we want to do with these three rivers. Okay, and 90% of the water should be ours. Whether we build dams, whether we divert them, whether we do whatever, it is our business. This was a very odd way to ever sign a treaty, but India insisted for it. At that point in time, nobody could figure out why India wants to do it this way. But I think what the idea was that they really wanted to stop any flow of they wanted to tinker with the ecology and don't give a single drop of that water to the Sikh state of Punjab, and basically then use that water as a weapon. And that is, that this is almost 50s we are talking about. That point in time, they were thinking about this. And that is how they were able to build these such a large dams and almost manipulate every single drop of water from these three rivers and not give a single drop to Punjab, the Sikh Punjab, or the Indian occupied Punjab, and take every single drop to Rajasthan, Haryana, and all, because the treaty allows them to do whatever they want to do. The Indian government to with that water system, and so that's why it's a very sinister. Like nobody at that point in time thought of this is what India had in their mind, that a government can do this to its own people. But coming back to this, right? If you look at, and I want you to remember this table. Okay, this one table shows you what exactly the modus operandi of India, how India is using dams to engineer floods. So based upon this, in the bars article that I wrote, okay, and let me pull that up again. I had asked, and when I had made these articles, it was not just me who was making an allegation that India was deliberately flooding Indian occupied Punjab. We also had ex-chief engineer of Punjab, Sardar Dulat Singh, made the same allegation. We also had ex-chairman of Punjab School Education Board, Sardar Harinder Singh Brad, and multiple other senior Punjab officials who publicly questioned BBMB's actions and what BBMB is doing and why it is deliberately flooding Punjab. But BBMB never gave a single answer. Even an ex-member of parliament, Sardar Atinder Pal Singh, made these allegations on social media on his channel. Okay, and then you know what happened? When there was a public hue and cry, on 12th July 2023, and I hope this is a link. Let me try to open if this is a link. Yeah, you see this? This is 13th July. You said on 12th July, the BBMB issued a public release saying we will not release excess water from Bhakra and Pong dams. Okay, it is our mistake, and we ended up, and they claimed that that it is we will not, public assurances were given that we won't release anymore. But you see this? I posted this table. On 11th July, 12th July, the BBMB assured the world that they are going to reduce the outflow. But you see what they did? Did they reduce the outflow? This is 12th July, 13th July, 14th July. You see, by 21st July, they were far exceeding the outflow versus what was there even in the beginning of July. So the BVMB was telling white lies in the media, and this BBMB on 11th July 23 made the statement that we won't release excess water after they had a meeting with the Chief Minister Panta, that Panda, that bloody joker, and they told him, "Oh, we are not going to release. CM Saab, be happy." CM Saab, who probably couldn't, even understand a single number, जिन्हें कदे 10वीं का एग्जाम नहीं पास किया, he is probably a metric failed idiot. Yeah, he went home, but in reality, the BBMB was doing this. You see this? By 21st July, they were releasing almost 37,000 cubic feet per sec on a daily basis. Okay, then these are the 5 questions. Okay, I want you to read these 5 questions. I want to read these 5 questions with you. I asked these 5 questions to BBMB and asked them, okay, please answer these 5 questions. They never responded, and these 5 questions were asked then in person by a Tribune journalist. But let's first read these 5 questions. And if the BBMB has a satisfactory answer, or the government of India has a satisfactory answer, I will take that answer. But somebody has to provide some explanation. So the five questions that naturally arise are these. Number one, why did the BBMB not discharge enough water, quote, enough water in dry months, March to June, to keep water levels in dam low in preparation for monsoons? Simple question. Second question, why did the BBMB ramp up daily outflow by over 100% from 11,755 cubic feet per sec to 23,385 cubic feet per sec daily, right as monsoons hit in July? And the dam water levels, this is important to know, and the dam water levels were 120 feet below the danger level when they ramped up the outflow in July. Third question, when the monsoons began, why did the BBMB block all the barrages which take 80% of Punjab's water to neighboring dry states, desert states, I would say, of Rajasthan? Why would you block that? Number four, why did BBMB provide false assurances of stopping the outflow in monsoon while continuing to discharge disproportionate amounts of water through July 2023? Fifth question was they have some missing data on the website, which is fine. But then one question that I have not put here, okay? One question that I have not put here is this. In 2023 also, the floods were devastating. And those were floods which were caused, if you go and look at the map, the release patterns was such that the flooding was actually caused in this area, along Satluj Yamuna link. You can say the south eastern part of Punjab, the area of Patiala was worst affected, going up to Firozpur. These were the areas which were worst affected by floods. Now, while this was going on in 2023, Punjab was devastated by floods caused by BBMB. NDRF is called National Disaster Relief Force, which provides disaster relief for India. And it kind of swings into action whenever there's a natural disaster. It has SOPs and different levels. NDRF did not even acknowledge that there is any emergency in Punjab for the entire duration of flooding. Their website will show their website, any natural disaster, their website will show. If you go to NDRF website, they will even show if there is an electrical pole which has fallen due to weather. They'll show, okay, then our teams reached and repaired it. But here is there are billions of dollars of agricultural land getting destroyed, property destroyed, people killed. NDRF did not even acknowledge on their website that there is floods happening in Punjab. You should go and look at NDRF. I probably have some screenshots and I can show you. I actually wrote to the NDRF head, is actually a lieutenant general of the Indian Army, and I wrote to him. I sent phone calls to them. They don't respond, and they basically just go, radio silence. And so this is coming back to the table. This is how the dams can be used as weapons. Okay, and now for this I don't have proof. Okay, this is proof which is, to me, is conclusive, but I'm still open. If BBMB has an explanation, they can provide me an explanation. Okay, yeah, some people tried to give me an explanation. Okay, so one of the lame excuses that came was from this guy. He said, Harjeet, but it was a lot of rains. So the rains don't explain this odd pattern, first of all. But even in 2023, even the rains were not abnormal. I looked at the 10-year data of the rainfall. And I'll go back to this. I looked at how much did the rains happen in India or in Punjab at that point in time. Look at this map. In 2023, our monsoon is called abnormal. Okay, if the water that the rains that you get is plus minus 20% from last 10-year average, that is called an abnormal monsoon. Okay, at an all India level, if you looked at all the monsoon that India got as a total, The 2023 India faced a drought. You see how many states are in red? They received deficit rainfall. In net, India was deficit in rainfall. But as you see, some northern states got some excessive rainfall. But the rainfall, excess rainfall they got above the average was not abnormal. Himachal only got like 19% above normal, above average. Punjab was 21% above average, which it basically means normal monsoon, perfectly normal monsoon. In fact, the states which got abnormal monsoon was to some certain extent Rajasthan, which got 52%. But Rajasthan doesn't get any rain as such, so they do see large variations in from the average. Okay, Uttar Pradesh got 70%, 30% extra. So you can say it got a bit more. But Uttar Pradesh was not flooded. How is Punjab flooded? The monsoon was perfectly normal in 2023. So that excuse was also out of the window. Now, some people did allege when I was writing this article, they reached out to me personally and they said, Harjeet, India is also doing a lot of experimentation with cloud seeding. Okay. Um, Cloud seeding technologies, they call it HARP technology. And they have almost set up a ministry to basically artificially create rains, excessive rains, or droughts. And India is kind of hell bent on using that technology, and there's a lot of effort on that going on now. At that point in time, I said, okay, fine, but once there is um, any kind of evidence that will come out, we'll talk about it. But honestly, this time I did check. They have created a full mission called Mission Mawsum, and let me share my screen here. um, Let me share this with you. Mission Mawsum. Okay. And if you see this Mission Mawsum, here's some of the newspaper reports when this Mission Mawsum was there. Uh, this is the heading: Delhi gears up for artificial rain pilot projects. Okay. Um, what is cloud seeding? Delhi to get artificial rains soon, says CM Rekha Gupta. I don't know which state is she from. Rajasthan launches India's first drone based artificial rain trial at Ramgarh Dam. Um, India to gain control over weather. Mission Mawsum aims to artificially enhance or suppress rain and hail within next 5 years. This is a 2024 news item. Okay, so there's something they have been doing. Okay, and given the nature of the Indian state and how irresponsible and genocidal they can get, I won't be surprised that in this year they did use some of these cloud seeding technologies as well outside of this normal methodology of using dams. And not only that, when I was not surprised at all, but like the Indians generally suffer from low IQ. But once this flooding happened this year, they they are publicly celebrating this flooding of Pakistan and Indian occupied Sikh Punjab on their national TV. Hundreds and thousands of people's homes, their livelihood has been destroyed forever, but they are celebrating it on their national TV. It basically reminds me of the same sadistic celebrations that they were having when Sardar Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a Canadian citizen, an activist, a father, a normal person like you and me, was murdered outside his place of worship by three cowards by pumping bullets, 50 bullets into his body. All of India was celebrating that, killing of one innocent man whose only job was whatever, crime was because he was speaking something that he didn't like. So this is, and I'm not joking. They're celebrating right now, and let me show you that clip. Okay, Please.
डैम के गेट खोले, सुनिए अब बाढ़ में डुबाने की तैयारी। पाकिस्तान की तरफ चिनाब में पानी का प्रवाह बढ़ा। सिल्ट हटाने की प्रक्रिया के तहत खोले गए गेट। डैम के गेट खोलने से पाकिस्तान में हाहाकार। सिंधु समझौता निलंबित। भारत एक तरफा फैसला लेने के लिए स्वतंत्र। अब टायर ट्यूब ट्यूब वगैरह वहाँ पंचर अंचर बना के रेडी रख लिए गए होंगे। बिल्कुल, और बांध के फ्लोट करो। और बिल्कुल बहुत बढ़िया ग्राफिक्स है। पाकिस्तान पानी में डूब रहा है और हल्के से तैर भी रहा है, हल्का सा। ऐसा लग रहा है कि थर्मोकोल का बना है पाकिस्तान। एनीवे, मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ बहुत बढ़िया चीज है। पहले प्यास से मारो और फिर पानी में डुबाओ, फिर प्यास से मारो फिर पानी में डुबाओ। अब बारिश हो रही है, मानसून का महीना है, तो अब पाकिस्तान में भी बारिश हो रही है, वहां पे भी वाटर लेवल राइज हो रहे हैं। बिल्कुल करेक्ट समय है कि और पानी डालो। और जैसे ही मानसून खत्म हुई, सारा पानी रोक दो, डाइवर्ट कर दो। यही चलना चाहिए इनके साथ। भारत ने सलाल बगलियाल डैम के गेट खोले, सुनिए अब बाढ़ में डुबाने की तैयारी। पाकिस्तान की तरफ चिनाब में पानी का प्रवाह बढ़ा। सिल्ट हटाने की प्रक्रिया के तहत खोले गए गेट। डैम के गेट खोलने से पाकिस्तान में हाहाकार। सिंधु समझौता निलंबित। भारत एक तरफा फैसला लेने के लिए स्वतंत्र। अब टायर ट्यूब वगैरह वहाँ पंचर अंचर बना के रेडी रख लिए गए होंगे। बिल्कुल, और बांध के फ्लोट करो। और बिल्कुल बहुत बढ़िया ग्राफिक्स है। पाकिस्तान पानी में डूब रहा है और हल्के से तैर भी रहा है, हल्का सा। ऐसा लग रहा है कि थर्मोकोल का बना है पाकिस्तान। एनीवे, मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ बहुत बढ़िया चीज है। पहले प्यास से मारो और फिर पानी में डुबाओ, फिर प्यास से मारो फिर पानी में डुबाओ। अब बारिश हो रही है, मानसून का महीना है, तो अब पाकिस्तान में भी बारिश हो रही है, वहां पे भी वाटर लेवल राइज हो रहे हैं। बिल्कुल करेक्ट समय है कि और पानी डालो। और जैसे ही मानसून खत्म हुई, सारा पानी रोक दो, डाइवर्ट कर दो। यही चलना चाहिए इनके साथ। भारत ने सलाल बगलियाल डैम के गेट खोले, सुनिए अब बाढ़ में डुबाने।
So this is what these people are capable of. It is honestly like, as a human being, you feel ashamed that there are fellow humans, who can, rejoice in the destruction of, average people's, livelihoods. It's amazing. Coin, go ahead. You have a question.
Was that the voice of Major Gaurav Arya?
Yeah,
So
Major
oh, wow.
Gaurav Arya. Yeah, Major Gaurav
So
Arya.
he was quite vocal in, I suppose, talking about plans of sending criminal gangs to kill critics in America and Canada as well, and that's exactly what the government did. Yeah, so that's very interesting that he publicly said this as well.
Yeah, yeah. And the good thing is that this time the people are, asking questions. In 2023, Coin, if you remember, when I published this article, it was very difficult for people. People just didn't knew that what hit them. And there's one young there's only and I was trying my best that, hey, get this data out, people should ask questions from the politicians, but not many newspapers in Punjab dared to ask this question. Bars News, when they published this article of mine, and let me reshare it here again, and people should read this, it has all the data. When Bars News actually published this article, India basically banned Bars News in India. They got censored in India immediately. And if I remember correctly, it was after this news item. And then what happened was, there's a young journalist in Tribune. His last name is Garewal. I have forgotten his first name. He actually asked these questions to the BBMB chairman, whose name was Mr. Sharma. And he asked the BBMB chairman a simple question, which was the right question to answer, and it is published in a Tribune article. He asked the BBMB chairman, Mr. Sharma, that Mr. Sharma, this year in 2023, the pattern of release and hold of water by the Bhakra and Pong dams is odd compared to the previous year's pattern. What do you have to say about it? Okay. And you know what is the answer Mr. Sharma gave? It's mind-boggling, honestly. Like, it's mind-boggling, like, that the human beings, like, if they can be called human beings, like this exist. Mr. Sharma said, this is nothing new. The same pattern was followed in 1988 as well. You know why he mentioned 1988? If people who are of my age, so when the floods happened, people had complained that this is caused by Bhakra Dam, and the Sikh militants actually had assassinated the BBMB chairman of that time. And here is Mr. Sharma. How many years now? 30, I would say around 53 years after that event. Not 53. How many years? Like 25. 38 years after that event, he's here basically saying we did the same thing that we did in 1988. And he's so confident in making this, he knows people will not be able to figure out what I'm saying. And he's so arrogant, okay? And basically saying, I committed this mass murder. Now I'm going to celebrate it by telling you in your face, and you guys can't do anything. That is what his statement meant. And yeah, and I would love to invite anybody who is from the Indian side who is sympathetic. Actually, at that point in time when I published this data, there were a lot of these pro-Indian people who came in. No, show us the data. And once I showed them the data, they had they basically ran away. They just couldn't answer. And there was one guy who I assume was connected with he used to come with a log profile, but it seems he was some Indian government official. Or he basically took all the dump of my data. He said, show me the data. I said, take all the dump. I have shared that data, the dump of that data. And actually, I have put all the data on a public folder, okay? If any one of you guys want it, if I remember correctly, that folder I put it on was a public folder, so people can go and conduct their own analysis if you want to. Because I was not sure if BBMB will let this portal where they publish this data be public anymore. And so that data is available, the data dump is there. You can run your own analysis and just come to your own conclusions and tell me if there's any story I missed. Yeah, go ahead. I'm Chota. हाँ, मैं ला दूंगा हुनी. While we are at it, I'll put that on. मैं जानबूझ के I had kept it on a public folder. Okay, anybody should be able to come and look at this data. And I'll show you a couple of more things. If I missed any other point, I think I covered most of the points. Let's look at some of the odd things. The good thing is, like what I pointed out, compared to last time, this time, average people are asking questions. Yeah, Coin, go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick question on the back of what JSK said with regards to these treaties and bilateral, and you said there's some, I don't know if some United Nations board, was the World Bank involved in this somehow?
Yes.
I suppose my question is, so if one government or authority has, I suppose, the right to do something in terms of releasing that will affect not only its own citizens, but another nation with the release of such a large quantity of water. Now, in terms of, was there nothing sort of put in place in certain terms of transparency, or at least something about, okay, we are going to open the gates. This is a justification, and this is the evidence for our justification of why we want to do it. Has that ever been demonstrated by Indian authorities when they're opening the gates?
Yeah, I think Coin, to my knowledge, look, imagine when they were finalizing the treaty, okay? I don't think in anybody's mind it was even remotely something that they could think of that people will use, that the Indian government will use these dams to harm its own people. Okay? I don't think that was...
The question I'm asking, because if the World Bank helped contribute to this dam, and they're assuming it'll be used responsibly and not use it to cause devastation, right? So, and if there is now evidence to suggest possibly at the very least it's negligent, criminal negligence. I mean, where is their sort of opinion and voice? Have they weighed in on this? Because happens once or twice, but now it's happened a lot, and now, particularly now, on the back of Operation Sindoor, where India was saying they'd be number 2, and these were the sort of the areas, Kashmir, Punjab on this side, and obviously Pakistan, were sort of the grounds on which that was all happening as well. So I think the international community need to be raising these questions, because you're right, dams aren't meant for this, and they should have been preventing floods, not causing just, the images that are coming out of Punjab. And I was shocked to see, because someone put up Indian media coverage of they had excluded Punjab. They showed water and rain and other minor floods elsewhere in the country, but in the area where there's absolute devastation, it's completely been left off. So a lot of people in other states have no idea either. Like I'm finding that extremely baffling. Why there hasn't been an emergency declared? So you have, people talking. They talk about, oh yes, there's lots of BSF, there's all these troops on the ground, but there's very little evidence that they were used for sandbagging, prevention, helping fortify embankments. Like nothing of that there's no evidence of any of that that intent of being helpful at all.
No, absolutely. I think your first point is very important. The point that you raised, Coin, and absolutely correct. I think we need to take this to the World Bank or international agencies. This data, okay, the data that I just showed, and have them basically intervene. And I think a bit of the onus is also on Pakistan. We don't have a state, but we are trying our best. Maybe some Sikh Jathebandis can help me with this. I also will do it on my end. I'll reach out. I'll see what I can do in exposing this data to relevant agencies. But I think we need to join forces. That's where it is important that Sikhs and Pakistan come together. We both are the target of this Indian state and the victim. We need to come together. And I have shared this with some of the Pakistani officials as well, and they need to raise it. Maybe we need to raise it jointly at international forums, and kind of figure out, and some explanation India has to provide. And you said maybe it's negligence at minimum. I don't think, yeah, if they can provide, I don't know, from it's criminal negligence is probably, I don't know if that's the right way to kind of, God knows, this is not negligence. Seems a total planned thing, but
with water aggression through terrorism.
Yeah, and they're openly saying it on the national TV. They're openly saying it. And to your point, Coin, let me pull that up. The one that you pointed out, that on their what you call they're not even showing this as an issue, right? That the floods in Punjab, they're basically showing something else. Let me see, where is it that where is that? I had saved for some reason. Whenever I save these bookmarks, they don't save correctly. But yeah, if you can put that up on the Nest, Coin, where they're not even acknowledging the flooding. Okay, I might have it here. Okay, let me bring this up.
I can do that while you go to the next thing.
Yeah, no, I can share it here. I think I have it. Yeah, here is on the live stream. This is what Coin is talking about. The India group flood map. Where the flooding is happening. So all the UP is under danger. Ganga is under danger. Bihar is under danger. Godavari. They don't even show what's happening in Punjab. Look at this map. Data as of 1st September 2025, 12 noon. Central Water Commission. As if Punjab is not, it's true. The Indian occupied Punjab is not a part of India. It's an enemy territory. The Indians treat it as an enemy territory. I think it's time for Sikhs, for us to wake up and see how they treat us. We are enemies for them. So here's the other map you're talking about. IMD issues orange alert in 4 states: Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Rajasthan, Jammu and Kashmir, but no orange alert in Punjab, which is flooded. I don't know whether to laugh at it or what's going on. This is 1 day ago, okay? Just yesterday this was published. This is what Coin was talking about. And we have...
I have also pinged a tweet where the Lieutenant General, ex-Army, I guess, that guy is also telling the blueprint, how they destroy Punjab.
Yeah.
Yeah. They openly says in the podcast,
Yeah.
So they don't even scared of it. The whole world will watch and see what their plans are.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, I will come to that. I just want to show you again, as I showed you in the 2023 data, how they closed the barrages which take water out to 90% of the water out to Rajasthan and Haryana. Same thing they are doing this time as well. They have closed the barrage. It's at Harike Pattan, the Rajasthan barrage. It takes the water through Indira Gandhi Canal to Rajasthan, and the locals then went there. They are basically requesting the people there to open it, but nobody's listening. Listen to this video. There's people on the ground, okay?
ਵੀਰੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਹਰੀਕੇ ਹੈਡ ਦੇ ਅਗਲੇ ਬੰਨੇ ਆ ਗਏ ਆ ਤੇ ਵੀਰ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਦਫ਼ਤਰ ਗਏ ਆ ਤੇ 29 ਦਰ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੇ ਆ 2 ਦਰ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਵੀਰ ਜੂਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦਿਖਾ ਦਿੰਦਾ 2 ਦਰ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਫੁੱਟ ਜਾਂ 2 ਫੁੱਟ ਤੋਂ 2 ਫੁੱਟ ਤੱਕ ਖੁੱਲੇ ਆ ਸਾਰੇ ਦਰ ਬੰਦ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਸਨ ਅਧਿਕਾਰੀ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਗਮਰਾਹ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਵੀਰੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਰੇਤੇ ਰੇਤਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਅਗਲੇ ਬੰਨੇ ਦਰਿਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਖੜੇ ਆ ਇੱਧਰ ਵੀਰ ਨੂੰ ਦਿਖਾਇਆ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਰੇਤਾ ਭਰ ਕੇ ਗਈ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਪਈ ਹੈ ਹੁਣ ਇੱਕ ਵੀਰ ਗੱਡੇ ਵਾਲਾ ਰੇਤਾ ਭਰ ਕੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਗਿਆ ਤੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਬੰਨੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਡੋਬਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਤੇ ਇੱਧਰਲੇ ਬੰਨੇ ਬੁਰੇ ਹਾਲਾਤ ਨੇ ਆ ਵੇਖ ਲਓ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੋਈ ਹਾਲਾਤ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਹਾਲਾਤ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਮੈਂ ਵੀਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਡੀਸੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੂੰ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਮੁੱਖ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਵੀਰਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਗਮਰਾਹ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਸਨ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ 2 ਦਰ ਨੇ ਗਰਾਊਂਡ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੇ 1.5 ਤੋਂ 2 ਫੁੱਟ ਤੋਂ 2 ਤੋਂ ਥੱਲੇ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਖੁੱਲੇ
Okay, so people who don't understand Punjabi, just to explain to you, this guy is standing at the barrage which diverts the water from these canals to Rajasthan, which is now a dry state right now. 90% of the water can be sent to Rajasthan instead of having it flood the Punjab part. And he's showing that at the barrage there are 29 gates. These gates are open through the year because all the water goes to Rajasthan. But this time when the Punjab is flooding, they have closed all the gates, he's saying, and only 2 gates are open and not too fully. They are only open by 1 or 2 feet. And he's saying, I've been calling the chief minister, the DC, everybody, nobody listens. They want all the flooding to happen in Punjab and Pakistan. And that's the whole plan. This is right there in front of you. Yeah, Coin, you had a question.
Oh yeah, I just put out a post which is quite interesting because that's one's from the India Today. It's also the Indian media as well. So this shows it's a tracking rivers and flood map crossing dangerous levels in India. So they've got them all over and they've excluded the area of Kashmir and Punjab and the Himachal.
Yeah.
There's another one which is they're saying that's IMD issues orange alert in 4 states, excluding Punjab in that region as well.
Yeah.
So that's dated the 1st as well. So that's again like it's the whole system is deliberately not wanting even other people to understand the ferocity of what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, Coin, absolutely right. And here it is. I'll show you another one. And another odd thing that is happening this time is, Punjab doesn't need anybody, okay? We don't need any relief from these idiots. Aap ta bhukhe marde hai, sanu inna ne ki relief deni. But when people are, in Punjab, like we have ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਨੂੰ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਹਾਂ. When there is a crisis, people just get together. It's a tradition in Punjab. Nobody in Punjab ever sleeps hungry. Ever. Okay? Chahe kite bhi hega. This is something we take pride in. Now, when this happened, it was but obvious that all the villagers, all the Sikhs in towns, cities, they'll get together for the relief effort. They don't look up to the government for anything. But the government is getting embarrassed by the efforts that the citizens are putting. So what they are now doing is they're stopping the local people from doing langar, or free kitchen, or distributing, relief material, because it makes the government look bad. I'd never seen such a thing ever in my life. The government is stopping people. Let me show you some videos, okay? And I'm not joking. I'm flabbergasted when I see, like, to what level can these bastards go? Here, watch these couple of videos. Where is this video? Okay, here it is. There is one of these videos. There are multiple such videos, but here's one of them.
ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੜ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਲੋਕ ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨ ਆ ਨਾ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਉਂ ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੇਵਾ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਭ ਵੀਰ ਭਾਈ ਦੇ ਸੇਵਾ ਲਈ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਉੱਥੇ ਰੋਕੇਗਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਤਿਕਾਰਯੋਗ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਤਿਕਾਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਇੱਥੇ ਹਾਲਾਤ ਜਾਣਨ ਆਏ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਤੁਰ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਆਏ ਆ ਨਾ ਤੁਰ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਪਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਰਿਕੁਐਸਟ ਕਰੋ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਰਨ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਵੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਹੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਦਾ ਸਤਿਕਾਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਰੋਜ਼ ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਕਿਉਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਦੱਸ ਦਿਓ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜਨਤਾ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਧਰ ਜਾਈਏ ਅਸੀਂ ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨ ਉਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਵਾਲੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਹਾਂ ਬੋਲੋ ਜੀ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸੁਣਨਾ ਹੀ ਮੈਂ ਡਾਕਟਰਾਂ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਦੱਸ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਉਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਸੱਜਣ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਨਾ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਸਨ ਨਾਲ ਇੰਨਾ
So this is not one video. There are multiple videos after videos where the people are complaining that the government officials are stopping them from providing relief to the people. And I don't know where I've lost some of those bookmarks. And here is the government relief. Okay, this idiot is watch this. Okay, so once the visuals came out of the people kind of helping each other. Now, most of the disaster relief in India is controlled by the central government, as I said, NDRF. Okay, and the state governments have no way of managing natural disasters on their own. The and NDRF is entirely 80 or 90% of the effort comes from the army. Army is the main agency. In each corps headquarter, div headquarter, they have unlimited amount of they're always ready with the relief material, men, equipment, and they can be out there in 5 minutes. But in Punjab, they are totally absent. But when the visuals start coming out, of people helping themselves, then what happened was that the state government of Punjab was looking bad. So it in its own hurry, they basically hired a civilian chopper and then arranged a photo op. And in this photo op, they're just dropping bagfuls of flour, wheat flour, right in the river waters, like right in the water. What kind of a nonsense relief is this? There's just a photo opportunity. Watch this. What this guy is doing. You saw what he's doing? He's just senselessly dropping stuff on a chopper, which is randomly roaming over stuff, senselessly dropping wheat, flour bags right in the water. It's not chopper is not flying low. The chopper is minimum flying at 400 feet. What is he dropping it in? Look at this is just water all over. This is just a type of nonsense. Like they think like Punjab is Bihar where people will get fooled by these pictures. It's just mind-boggling, like. Anyways, yeah. We have Tariq Saab as well. Tariq Jajua ji, I know Pakistan is also suffering through your Indian friends. The जिन्होंने आप तुसी space ला के बैठते हो रोज दिन रात, and so I hope you guys understand what you're dealing with.
Really, this is a very good discussion going on. And something that I just actually, while you were speaking, and I think there's a lady that who raised this question about some legal, issues. So I did some chat GTP, and I came very disturbing answer. I mean, I do not find that there is any freedom of information request could be filed under the laws that govern the these dams, and I focused on causes and implications of negligence, and I really didn't really get any answer that which could happen, and there is no case laws also. Probably I'm not doing the right research, but they actually also mentioned about 2000, current flood.
Oh,
So
yeah, but Tariq
anybody
Sahab,
that who has an access,
you won't find anything because this type of unique crime human beings are incapable of. In human history,
yeah,
imagine a government spending trillions of dollars to make a dam and then using the same dam to kill its own people. Which government has done this? Not even North Korea does that. So you will never
yeah,
find any
Nazi
case
did
history.
it
There is no
back
case
in,
history on this.
yeah, in the invasion of the, I mean, after they were leaving Holland, they actually broke all the dams for the Allies when they were coming.
Yeah.
So they actually drowned the entire Holland. That's why they really dislike the Germans. One of the reasons when I was there one time, actually, I saw them really showing hate when they saw a German license plate vehicle with this draw Nazi sign.
Yeah. But this is just, and this is where I think, Tariq Sahab, your government can help us. Like, they should take this data, and I'll try to. There are many of your government people who are now, come on Twitter Spaces. I think there's, and I'll kind of reach out to them as well. I'm giving interviews on some other Pakistani media channels as well.
Sure.
And yeah.
But a couple of things that the GPT came out. I mean, I think it is interesting to actually focus on.
Mm-hmm.
If I may just tell you that what says it says delayed water release. DBMB experts noted that delayed gates openings at Madhupur combined with the massive inflows from the Ranjit Sagar Dam caused the barrage gates to collapse.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're saying is that there was collapse of Madhepur headwards.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, is that true?
That I have. So for this year, they might have just stored excessive water and then basically.
Anybody knows about Madhepur headwards, or maybe they can do some research. Because these are the points that actually people need to know, and also I think I would say that at this point, just like if your organization or any organization, because if the Pakistan does something like this, probably they will not be received.
ਪਾਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਨਾ ਸਾਰੇ ਲਾਈਕ ਕਰਤਾਰਪੁਰ ਵਾਲੀ ਸਾਈਡ ਉਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਹੀ ਆਇਆ ਸੀ ਉਦੋਂ ਹੀ ਟੁੱਟਾ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਜਦੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਚੜਿਆ ਉਧਰ ਨੂੰ
ਉਹੀ ਤਾਂ ਪਤਾ ਕਰਨਾ ਨਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਫਲੋ ਸੀ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਸੀ ਔਰ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਟੁੱਟਾ I mean this is an infrastructure actually had been collapsed.
No.
You need
Tariq Sahab, hear me out. Hear me out. No, hear me out.
ਪਾਣੀ ਆਏਗਾ ਤੇ infrastructure.
Tariq Sahab, hear me out. Listen. What is happening right now, you should definitely collect data on what is going on in these instances. But what I'm telling you is you already have documented data and documented history of India using dams and water as a weapon. And that data is conclusive. This data that I have shared is conclusive. You should definitely take note of it. When you're building your case, this is going to really immensely help you, and you can build a joint case along with Sikhs. That look, this in 2023, India did this. This is the pattern. Now, you should save and document all these videos that they are publishing on their national TV where they are celebrating the flooding. And Gaurav Arya is not a small person, okay? He's directly connected with the deep state of India. And he's celebrating on national TV the flooding of Pakistan. Their retired Lieutenant General, is on YouTube channel saying, this is the strategy that we are going to use. And this strategy that they have used is proven with data in 2023. Now, the only thing you have to do is link it with what happened in 2025. Right now, what is happening, okay? The pattern is there. The intent is there. They agree that this is what they are doing. They have made it known this is what they are planning to do. Now, you have to do some basic work on your own as well. Pakistan should also come up with some information or not. ISI ਇੱਥੇ ਬੈਠੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੰਨੀ ਤਨਖਾਹ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿਸ ਲਈ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ? Yeah, Coin, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Pakistan is starting to question because the damage and death and destruction on that in Pakistan due to the release of water by the Indian government can't be ignored. So there's a fantastic article by Murtaza Ali Shah, and in that he has interviewed some Punjabi, Pakistani officials. There's the department minister, Ahsan Iqbal, and he said that India started using water as a weapon, which is sort of the terminology that we're sort of using casually here, but that article is worth reading, and sort of gives a more sort of generic understanding. But I think from a governmental point of view, I think those answers should be demanded from India. It's not just a case of, oh, hang on, we're going to release water and we're just going to give you a little bit of notice. I mean, that's just not how things work. In terms of, I was asking some of these AIs, and I think some people can maybe dig into it deeper. So I was going on sort of a barrage of questions just to sort of see if there was any data. I'll pop my questions up in the nest. So Perplexity basically said that the data circulating suggests that as of 20th of May 2025, water levels at the Bakra Dam were about 80 feet higher than the recommended minimum dam drown level, MDDL, of 1462 feet, which would mean protocol for pre-monsoon drawdown water wasn't strictly followed. So that suggests similar sort of things will happen in 2023. If this is accurate, dam operators may have taken a risk by entering monsoon season with reservoirs too full. International safety standards call for a buffer space before heavy rains, but it still doesn't obviously directly prove intentional harm unless there's evidence officials ignored warning or deliberately withheld releases despite forecasts. So, and we're in an era where weather forecasts, not some, they do have data to have fairly good predictions. So if there was going to be unseasonal downpour, and you have, especially after 2023, when there's a lot of criticism, and there's going to be more than usual rain, and it's and the levels of the dams are at heights which are against protocol, then I think Pakistan has every right, as do the states of Himachal Pradesh, Himachal, Punjab, Kashmir, of the government, and it needs to be a very, very good answer because there's a lot of loss.
Excellent point, Coin. Excellent. Actually, while you were talking,
I read this one, and this is a very good piece of information, I think. I mean, with today's modern technology, you already know that days before that, what is going to happen, how much rain is going to be there, or if you can just, make up your own rain as well, that. But the question is that if this piece of information is there, and we know that they had above 80 feet, and then when did they receive the information about the forecast? This is like, we all know that. We even on a cheap a channel can just tell you that, hello, there is a rain coming, be ready. All these things are available. You don't need to have to be on the moon in order to learn these things. Number one. Number two, I saw that it says, one thing I learned over here, I understand that the Pakistan has to do this, I think. But if the reason I'm saying is, many people, those who may be probably working in a weather forecast station or somewhere down the line, that your people are working over there, and they could be very, helpful in coming out and telling that, if Punjab government, I'm talking about Indian Punjab government, if they try to actually take this matter to the court, I'm pretty much sure that they can help a lot to expose this. Although they will come up in some excuses, maybe they will board them, oh, this is national security and blah blah blah.
You don't. You don't understand the. You don't understand the setup in India, Tariq Sahab. I understand your intention, but the Punjab government, of the occupied Punjab, okay, Indian occupied Punjab, the government is not for the people of Punjab. Every single official in that government, including the chief minister, is controlled by the deep Indian state. So your expectation, while making kind of some sense, is not going to pan out. Okay,
I totally understand that. I'm not.
What you can count on is what you can count on is people leaking information to us. Okay, that we can count on. Hanji.
Hanji sir, my intention is not that they will come clean. Of course, they are all actually complicit. I mean, come on, we all know that.
Mm-hmm.
So at least if this question is raised while there is a press conference or something,
right?
मेरी गल को समझने की कोशिश करो. I'm not really asking them to actually come clean or take this whole thing into the board. Of course, they're not gonna do that. And even if they will do that, they might.
अंदर सुट देना NSA लाके जे किसी ने बोलता ना उन्हां दी मर्जी तो बिना
वो नहीं मैंने पता है
NSA लाके अंदर सुट देना की
हाँ वो 100%
ਉੱਥੇ ਮੰਤਰੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਹਾਲ ਆ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੀ ਹਾਲ ਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹੋ ਕਿ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਤਲਬ ਬਿਨਾਂ ਪੁੱਛੇ ਕੁੱਟਣ ਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਬੋਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਫਲੱਡ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਨੈਚੁਰਲ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਸਟਰ ਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹ ਕੰਟਰੋਲਡ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਢਿਰ ਖੜੀ ਕਰ ਲਈਏ
ਤਾਰਿਕ ਭਾਈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਵਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੁਝ ਬਰਾਜ ਆ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਲੋਕੀ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ਼ਰਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹ ਓਪਨ ਕਰਾ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਚੱਲ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਵਾਪਸ ਉਹ ਬੰਦ ਕਰ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਸੋ ਇੰਨਾ ਤੱਕ ਧੱਕਾ ਹੋਣ ਡਿਆ ਉੱਥੇ.
But I have to say one thing, okay? Here, Tariq Sahab, your Pakistan government is coming short. While all kudos to them, Pakistan Army for helping in Kartarpur Sahib and raising some voice, but you guys can do more. Okay, you have a whole state.
कर सकते हैं मेरी गल नहीं समझते थे अगर ए जरा थोड़ी सारी अगर क्वेश्चन भी हाईलाइट बन जाए ना थोड़ा सा हेडलाइन छोटी मोटियां भी बन जाए कोई इधर ट्रिगर होएगा क्योंकि साडी भी अच्छी जड़ी ना ओ कुत्ती चोरा नाल रली हुई है ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ you don't know that
ਨਹੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਸਹੀ ਆ but I'll tell you one thing, okay? Coin has her hand raised and I'm going to now start closing the space, but this is a headline. समझ गए तारिक साहब सुनो ध्यान नाल. This is currently a headline everywhere in Punjab. Let's hear one headline, okay? YouTuber and he's got that data that Coin was pointing out. I think let's listen to the data. I think Coin was making that Coin was making hold on अच्छा hold on okay hold on guys right now I want to just hear to this let's hear this guy out जो ये कह रहा है it's very important. This is the point that Coin was raising, that many of these dams the water level was in the water was not released going into the monsoon properly. And hear me out, and I'm very happy that this time every single journalist like worth his salt in Punjab, YouTuber, ਪਿੰਡਾਂ 'ਚ ਲੋਕ ਇਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ. ਇਹ ਹੁਣ ਪਿੰਡ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਾਣਬੁੱਝ ਕੇ ਕੀਤਾ. Not a single Sikh in Punjab believe that these were natural floods. Okay, let's hear this guy out of it.
ਦੇ ਲੋਕ ਵੀ ਧਿਆਨ ਨਾਲ ਸੁਣਨ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਪੰਜਾਬੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਨਾ ਕਿ 2023 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੜ੍ਹ ਆਏ ਉਦੋਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਡੈਮ ਦਾ ਪੱਧਰ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਸੀ ਪਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਉਹ 1462 ਫਿੱਟ ਤੱਕ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਸੀ, ਮਤਲਬ 62 ਤੋਂ 63 ਫਿੱਟ ਤੱਕ ਪਾਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਸੀ. ਉਹ ਕਾਰਨ ਇਹ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਡੈਪਲੀਸ਼ਨ ਲੈਵਲ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਘਟਾਓ, ਪਰ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ 1558 ਤੱਕ ਲੈਵਲ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਗਿਆ, ਮਤਲਬ ਲੋੜ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਜਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇੱਕ ਪੈਮਾਨਾ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਤੋਂ 75-80 ਫੁੱਟ ਵੱਧ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਤੇ ਦਾਅਵਾ ਇਹ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ 25 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ 1462 ਰੱਖਣਾ ਸੀ, 1545 ਰੱਖਿਆ ਗਿਆ. ਸਾਰੇ ਡейਟਾ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ?
Now people are bringing all this data, okay? What was supposed to be the water level and what the water level was kept in, which is amazing. मैं बहुत खुश हूँ इस बार जो हो रहा है 2025 पंजाब च. हाँ जी, मतलब in terms of awareness.
अच्छा हरजीत साहब एक सेकंड छोटी सी गल मैं फ्लोट करना चाहना हूँ. I do not expect to be कोई रिजल्ट आएगा, लेकिन एटलीस्ट इफ देयर आर सम ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, देखो चढ़दा पंजाब इत्थे लहंदा पंजाब वाली ने, who actually may you find someone down the ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਕਮਿਊਨੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਲਿੰਕ ਹੈ ਚੈਨਲ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਬੰਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਅੜਿਆ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਖਿਸਕਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਕੁਛ, if any organization actually announce an award for providing the information that could helpful to solve this flood, that could be also a very helpful. I mean, who knows?
हाँ नहीं बिल्कुल सही गल है. This is a good appeal. I think what Tariq Sahab is saying is people who have data, ਜੇ ਕਿਤੇ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਹੁਣ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਅਪੀਲ ਕਰਦਾ ਵੀ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਡਿਪਾਰਟਮੈਂਟ ਤੇ
this one thing we must know that if let's say that they had a satellite of, I mean, if they don't come back and say, well, this one ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਸੀ Okina or radar system ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਜਹਾਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਲੱਭਦਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ. ਲੈਟਸ ਸੇ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਸੈਟੇਲਾਈਟ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਹੇ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਬੱਦਲ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਬਸ ਹਵਾ ਹੀ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ. So unless they actually come back and complain about their system was not good, of course, then that is another problem. They have to fix it. But let's say that they have the knowledge, and then somebody, a group of people must know that holding that level of water before the rain coming, and they knew that the rain going to actually fall very soon, and they also had some knowledge that how much there will be, and they still did not do anything, and probably they were advised not to do or ordered not to do something. You understand? So the whole thing is ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਏਰੀਆ 'ਚ ਹੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੰਮ. ਤੇ ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ there is a prize for some people, right?
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ. ਓਕੇ ਸੋ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਦਿਸ ਇਜ਼ ਮੈਂ ਅਪੀਲ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਰਕਾਰੀ ਨੌਕਰੀਆਂ 'ਚ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਿੱਖ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਆ, ਦੇਖੋ ਵੈਸੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਡਾਟਾ ਦੀ ਹੁਣ ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ. ਮੈਂ ਜੋ ਡੇਟਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਾਈਡ ਕੀਤਾ ਨਾ 2023 ਦਾ, ਦਿਸ ਕਨਕਲੂਸਿਵਲੀ ਪ੍ਰੂਵਸ ਕਿ ਬਈ these dams are used as weapons against Sikhs in Indian occupied Punjab, and there's no reason ਕਿ 2025 'ਚ ਕੋਈ ਵੱਖਰਾ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਮੈਂ 2025 ਦਾ ਵੀ ਡੇਟਾ ਡਾਊਨਲੋਡ ਕਰ ਲਾਂਗਾ, ਆਹੀ ਸਟੋਰੀ ਨਿਕਲਣੀ ਹੈ. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਪੀਪਲ ਸ਼ੁੱਡ ਮੇਕ ਦੈਮਸੈਲਵਸ ਅਵੇਅਰ, ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਅਵੇਅਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਣ ਕਿ ਭਾਈ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਸਟੇਟ ਦੀ ਕਿਆ ਇੰਟੈਂਸ਼ਨਸ ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵੱਲ. ਉਹ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਖਤਮ ਕਰ ਦੇਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਸਾਡੇ ਕਲਚਰ ਨੂੰ, ਸਾਡੇ ਰਿਲੀਜਨ ਨੂੰ, ਸਾਡੀ ਵੇ ਆਫ ਲਾਈਫ ਨੂੰ. ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਮਨ 'ਚ ਡਾਊਟ ਹੈ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤਿਰੰਗੀ ਲੀਰ ਹਲੇ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਘੁੰਮਦੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਉਹ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਆ ਡੇਟਾ ਦੇਖੇ ਤੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਐਕਸਪਲੇਨ ਕਰੇ ਕਿ ਹੋਇਆ ਕੀ ਹੈ. ਉਹ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਐਕਸਪਲੇਨ ਕਰ ਦੇਵੇ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਮੰਨ ਜਾਵਾਂਗਾ ਕਿ ਤਿਰੰਗਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਦੇਸ਼ ਹੈ. ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਪਰ ਇਸ ਵਾਰ ਬੜੀ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਤੇ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਪਿੰਡਾਂ 'ਚ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਗੇਮ ਕੀ ਪਈ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਡੈਮ ਨੂੰ. ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਪਿੰਡਾਂ 'ਚ ਬੱਚਾ ਬੁੱਢੀ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਪੁੱਛ ਲਓਗੇ ਨਾ 100 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹੀ ਜਵਾਬ ਦੇਊਗੀ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀਤਾ ਬੀਮੀ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਨੇ. ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਆ, ਤੇ ਇਹ ਮੈਂ ਡੇਟਾ ਸ਼ੋ ਕੀਤਾ. ਦਿਸ ਇਜ਼ ਦ ਡੇਟਾ ਦੈਟ ਇਜ਼ ਅਵੇਲੇਬਲ. ਇਫ ਦੇਰ ਇਜ਼ ਐਨੀ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਅਫੀਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਹੂ ਕੈਨ ਐਕਸਪਲੇਨ ਦਿਸ, ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਕਮ ਫਾਰਵਰਡ. Come and explain this. Come and explain these questions that I have shown to you. This is the data. This is your own data. Come, please explain. What have you guys done? Why this pattern of release of water? And if you can explain it, and I'll take your explanation if it is a logical explanation. But nobody is coming and explaining. People run away. All these Hindu Tavis who are here, who come to my spaces all the time, you are welcome to come and explain, like, why. And I'll repeat these 5 questions for you, okay? And this is the table. I want to quickly run this table through people through this table again before we close. And before I do that, I'll just ask Coin for the last question, and then we'll close the space. Coin, you wanted to say something?
Yes, certainly. I think you raised some really excellent points, yourself and the other speaker. And I think there's a pattern here, right? And I think necessarily, like, is obviously the flooding isn't just affecting. I think it's affecting all of Punjab, irrespective of your faith, right? In Kashmir and Himachal, and obviously going to the other side into Pakistan. So the question I think we were sort of raising is like, right. There is satellite imagery. There are data analysts, even on Twitter, where people actually put up satellite imagery, and non-Indians were observing how before the floods, why they were questioning why the dams were full. Right, so there's evidence out there that is very, very clear. And Bangladesh in 2024 also accused the Indian government of the same thing. Right, and I think that should be noted very seriously as well. And the explanation, and this was raised formally, so when India was asked why it released an extraordinary amount of water, causing devastating floods in Bangladesh as well. And maybe someone from Bangladesh can come and talk about that. But so they opened up the same sort of thing during monsoon season as well. And that became after that, I forgot, Sheikh Hasina was overthrown. So the timing of all these incidences, I think, is really critical to understand as well. And when Bangladesh asked, the Indian ambassador asked, he basically said that India didn't release, and that the water just automatically was released from the dam, which is, again, I think there's sort of like a joint, like all of its neighbouring states, Bangladesh, Pakistan, the states and citizens that this is affecting. There needs to be, I think, a joint, questioning of what India is doing, because water is being used in a very nefarious way, which is killing people and causing devastation, and particularly on the back of the 2023 floods, where the government didn't assist. So these farmers have had to take out more loans, and just seeing their crops and homes, and if they haven't lost people, they would be at the end of their patience in terms of on how they're going to cope.
Coin, you're making such excellent points, and I had forgotten. As we talk about the pattern, right? Like today in the presentation, people who are joining late, go back and listen to the early part where I show the data of 2023, how those floods were engineered. It's conclusive to my opinion, and if you watch it, I'm pretty sure you will arrive at the same conclusions. But I had forgotten to mention what they did to Bangladesh. You are absolutely right. They did the same, they used the same modus operandi to punish Bangladesh once the Bangladeshi people had thrown out their autocratic government. And at that point in time, I vividly remember the same Major Gaurav Arya was celebrating on India's national TV that, look, now we have flooded Bangladesh, look how we have taught them a lesson. To my mind, right now, I'm kind of amazed, like, how long will international community watch this Indian terrorism, India's genocidal impulse, India's genocidal actions against its own minorities, against its neighbors, against the Western nations? No weapon and is beyond them. They'll use water, they'll use ecology, they'll play with the environment and do whatever is required to basically further their Hindu Indian state or Hindu Rashtra agenda. So yeah, you're very right. Bangladesh was also at the receiving end, like Pakistan is right now, like the Sikhs have always been. And here is the data is available. This is the data. And before, I will take last two questions, and then I'll go through the data once again quickly.
One more thing, please. I think this is what these communities or countries need to actually seriously consider, is that it's obviously punitive collective punishment, but it's also future threat. So here you have, for example, the Bangladeshi people, rise up against their corrupt, obviously, where India, planted people in their country or whatever. It was sort of like an affront or a critique of India because there was a lot of that, the Indian government being called out. And then you had this punishment. But the thing is that will always be hanging over their head because they are at the mercy of the water being controlled or stopped at any time. And I think that is a very serious conversation that needs to be had by all the communities affected by, they're at the mercy of India, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Coin. I think you put it out so eloquently, and I think a great job at kind of highlighting the Bangladesh thing as well.